Catholic social teaching is the Church's authoritative and normative resource for discerning how to love. It's authoritative since it's taught by the Pope and other bishops, whom the Catholic tradition believes are the successors to the first apostles. Catholic social teaching is normative since it contains objective moral standards and ethical directives. The US bishops thus describe that, quote, Catholic social teaching is a central and an essential element of our faith, end quote. This means Catholic social teaching is central and essential to Creighton's identity and mission. While the US bishops affirm the centrality of Catholic social teaching, they also lament its place in the modern US church. As they describe, quote, it is clear that in some educational programs, Catholic social teaching is not really shared or not sufficiently integral and explicit. As a result, far too many Catholics are not familiar with the basic content of Catholic social teaching. More fundamentally, many Catholics do not adequately understand that the social teaching of the Church is an essential part of Catholic faith, end quote. The bishop's assessment is correct. However, it's also incomplete because it fails to acknowledge that this reality did not happen organically or innocently. The Vatican's Compendium for the Social Doctrine of the Church describes that Catholic social teaching has several core tenets. First, persons have natural rights to all the basic goods needed to protect human dignity. This includes goods like food, healthcare, and a safe natural environment. Second, persons and communities have corresponding natural duties to ensure that everyone's rights to these goods are protected, especially among the poor, vulnerable, and marginalized. Third, the state exists to protect rights and ensure fulfillment of duties. The principle that mediates state intervention in Catholic social teaching is subsidiarity. On one hand, the state should not intervene if rights are protected and duties are fulfilled through voluntary initiatives. If this is not the case, however, then the state must intervene at the highest necessary level. This is why the US bishops summarize that Catholicism, quote, rejects the notion that a free market automatically produces justice, end quote. That is to say that a free market automatically protects rights and ensures fulfillment of duties. It's also why St. John Paul II affirmed that, quote, it is the task of the state to provide for the defense and preservation of common goods, such as the natural and human environments, which cannot be safeguarded simply by market forces, end quote. Finally, Catholic social teaching stresses that the fullness of faith requires social justice that works through state intervention, if necessary, to reform systems, structures, and policies. Over the past several decades, however, strategic donations from key persons and entities have obscured these essential features of Catholic social teaching. As a result, many Americans fundamentally misunderstand Catholicism as primarily or exclusively concerned with personal piety over social action, and as aligned with neoliberalism's general commitment to individual liberty without responsibility, opposition to government, and devotion to unfettered free markets. This spiritualization of faith empties Catholicism of its objective, normative, and often countercultural moral contents. This is what the US bishops lament, and this is what we'll hear from our speaker tonight.